Welcome back to The Money Honey, the show that brings together women in property, finance, and construction. If you are new to this, please don't forget to subscribe and like the episodes that you are listening to. And of course, if you've never heard this before, I always say it's about positive pollination, right? So, positive pollination means just pay it forward. If you feel like this episode has helped you and you want to share it with someone else that can gain inspiration and insight from this episode, please do share it. On today's show, I am very, very excited about this. Like, just super excited and proud to invite this very young, right? So she's a young woman in finance. And that comes with its challenges because let's face it, I don't want to bury my head in the sand. Like there's already a challenge that comes with being a woman. There's already a challenge with age. But this girl is just owning it. Like she's owning, and I know she doesn't feel like she is sometimes, right? I know what she's thinking right now. She's thinking like, no, I'm she was nervous, right? Let's needless to say, she was obviously nervous. We all are nervous, and I am just so incredibly proud of what she's doing. You may already know her. Her name is Isabella Streames from Velvet Mortgage and Insure. Her mummy has been on the show. Her gorgeous, delicious mother, Joanna Streames, has been on the show as well. And why? How do I know these ladies? Right. So I'm very lucky to say that they have actually been my clients before. That's what I don't know how I got so lucky. I don't know how I landed a client like Velvet and like Isabella and Joanna, because I was invited to this like online webinar. I know Joanna's going to kill me for saying this, but Isabella's backstage right now listening to this. And I was invited by another client of mine. So he's a Primis mortgage broker. And he said, look, Roz, I've loved working with you. You've been amazing. I want to introduce you to my little circle of friends, other industry advisors, and I want them to gain access to you too. And guess who the loudest person in that room was? Yeah, Joanna. Joanna was loud, and she was like, and I just thought I hadn't met her yet, and I didn't know who she was, but I was entertained very much on this webinar. And then at the end of the webinar, I said, "Does anyone have any questions?" And she was like, "Yeah. So when can I be a client? Yeah. When can we work together, please?" So like she was just on it like from day one, and I thought, right, I'm really going to get on working with her. And so it was with Isabella and Joanna that I spent about 6 weeks with, like doing one-to-one sessions online, and literally they would turn up. Like, I hope she's going to kill me if I say this, but they would literally turn up in their pajamas. Like it was early in the morning because I had to get the session in before all of their like busy appointments with their clients. So Joanna would be in her rollers, and then like Isabella would be in her dressing gown. I don't know how they still looked fabulous, but anyway, it was a very mature and very relaxed partnership, and I'm so happy with what they've done with their brand. They look absolutely sensational on social media, so check out Velvet. But without further ado, I've said what I've had to say. I'm gonna get Isabella ready and bring her in. Hello. Do you hate me? Do you hate me? Did you like that intro, or do you want
Yeah,
to run away?
God, back in the days of when I used to just rock up in my dressing gown.
Yes, I know, but that was just to me though, right? We were just having our morning
Made
chat.
a little bit more effort today.
Thank you. Yeah, and loving the shirt, by the way. Obviously, very on brand.
Yeah, has to be pink.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, because let's talk about that actually. So obviously, I gave you an intro that I smile about every single day when I think about you two. But why don't you give us your intro? What would you say, and how would you introduce yourself?
So I'm Bella, and I work at Velvet Mortgage and Insure Services with my mum. So I've just recently I say recently, it's about a year and a half now, but I've just started advising. So I'm a protection only advisor at the moment. So yeah, I'm really loving it so far.
That's incredible. That's well done. I remember when we first started chatting, and I know your mum slash boss, she wanted to bring the Velvet brand more and more visible on social media. And I remember the conversation being along the lines of like, well, Bella's of the perfect age. Surely she should know how to do all this. Surely she should have all the confidence and all the ideas. But it didn't quite feel like that, did it, Bella?
No. So I've been working with my mum for a few years now. And I think at the beginning, so we talk about, like, I know a lot of people talk about women in finance and things like that, but it's only probably about 3 years ago that I've joined mum, or maybe 4. And at first, like, I used to literally rock up to these like events trying to look like a man, basically, in the best way possible. I would literally try and wear like black trousers, a black blazer, and just try and like fit in, really. But I think when we kind of went through our rebranding process and mum was like saying what she liked, we both love red and pink, and then it just kind of went from there, really. And then now we're like, no, we are women, we can dress like women and carry ourselves as women. Wearing pink and red doesn't mean that that it's only going to be women, but I just think it's like a nice reflection of our personalities as well in our brand. So
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I also learned from you girls. You girls taught me so much. I know I was your coach and your social media manager, but in return, you did me a favor as well, because whether you know this or not, but one of the reasons that I have pink in the business now is because I started to see more pink in financial services with, like yourself. And I've always loved pink, by the way. Like, pink has always been my favorite color. My room has always been painted pink. When I was really, really, really young, I only liked brushing my hair with my pink brush, right? When I was 20, I'm joking. I'm talking about when I was like 4 or 6. And when I had this bee theme, I just did it black, white, and yellow, because I was like, I'm already being daring enough as it is with the yellow. And yeah, that's when I started bringing in the pink, and I started owning it, because there are a lot of male companies that also have pink in the business. But I think, like you said, you just got to dress up and own it and embrace who you are.
yeah, because I think at first, well, it's a bit scary, isn't it, when you go from
Yes.
just like your normal colours, and then it's like you are suddenly going pink and red and yellow and orange and stuff, and then you kind of think, oh, but what if that doesn't attract male clients to me? But really, to be honest, like, male clients, they're not going to think, oh, they've got pink in their brand, I don't want to work with them. It's like, it's all about you and your business and how you present yourself. Do you know what I mean? So it's a good thing, really. I think more pink is necessary.
Yes, yeah, 100%. And now I often get people saying, because yellow is still the main color, pink is like the accent, and the orange is the accent color. But I get a lot of people saying, oh, yellow, that's exactly what we need in financial services. That splash of yellow, that splash of brightness and positivity is what we need, which is exactly how I wear my brand and how you wear it too. And by wear, I don't just mean our clothes. I mean like the way you talk and act and the way you deliver your message is, yes, the color is important, but actually you're still you, and you still will attract your ideal customers because of how you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, you weren't so confident at first. Well, how have you developed that journey, right? Because I've seen you grow, and I've only known you for like a year or so.
Yeah.
How would someone looking at you thinking, gosh, how do you develop that confidence and own your brand and really embrace it?
Do you know what? I think a massive part of it is obviously working alongside my mum. So she is like my biggest cheerleader anyway. And yeah, I think I have always like lacked maybe a bit of confidence, and just always been a bit scared to do things that are outside your comfort zone. But I think once you start getting used to going out of your comfort zone, that's when you do learn to grow, because it's like, in order to be successful, you can't stay in the comfort zone. You've got to do things. And even if it's like little things each day that are a little bit out of your comfort zone, eventually it will just feel a lot more normal. And then there's no more of that being scared and things. Like, I did start going to, like, my mum's part of a BNI networking group. And I started going there probably when, like, even before I was an advisor, actually, because I used to have my own events company before. And I started going to there, and you have to stand up and present 60 seconds. And the first time I ever went, I was up until about 3 a.m, petrified of having to stand up and talk to people. I was like, oh my gosh. And when I stood up, because I'd written what I was going to say on my notes, I literally had my phone in front of me, and I was like, no. So scared. And I think that really helped a lot. And then I also look at listen to a lot of podcasts and things like that, which I think are really helpful as well in regards to confidence.
Absolutely. Any favorites that you would like to share and recommend?
Yeah, so there's one where I can't remember what the lady's name is, but it's nice girls don't get the corner office. And I absolutely loved that, because there were so many things that I do subconsciously that was in that, not realizing. And then, I just learned a lot from that. So that's a really good one.
Love it. I'm just about to write that down because I think I've forgotten about it. So this is called Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner. Don't get the corner office. Yes. So if anyone listening, that's definitely one for it says on here, unconscious mistakes women make to sabotage their careers. Hello. I mean, how many times? I already know I could write a book on that. I literally could write a book on all the things that I do to self-sabotage. Like I definitely self-sabotage. So thank you for that. Any others?
I'm trying to think. So I listen to a lot of Stephen Bartlett. I know he's
same.
necessarily. And then Natalie Workman, she's another one that's really good. Like she has loads of different ones, but hers are always really brilliant as well. Mum, sometimes we'll be working and Mum will put it on the Alexa in the office, and we'll be working whilst listening.
So that is Natalie
Workman.
Oh, that's ironic.
Yeah.
So let's have a look, guys. I'm Googling this for you as we speak. Oh, yeah, she's glam. So, yeah, it just says scaling up your business with Natalie Workman. So there's a book here, or divineliving.com. So if you're listening to this, I think this is kind of like her book / website. And on podcasts, she's got one called How to Build a High Performance Team. Okay, right. Well, that is definitely going on my reading list. The guest just before you, Bella, made me buy a bunch of things on Amazon. So I'm a sucker for these things. I think this podcast is costing me a lot of money.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I end up just buying things that people tell me to buy. So please, if anyone wants to sponsor this podcast, I'm open to any donations or charity. Not a problem. So look, let's move on to, I do want to touch on quite candidly, what is it like, age? Because I entered the financial services space when I was about 24, 25. And it was quite daunting. I felt like people weren't taking me seriously at that age. Do you ever come up against that?
Yeah, quite a lot, to be honest. But I don't know if it's more maybe in my own head than it actually really is. Because I think obviously as a young girl, sometimes you do kind of overthink things like that. And you're like, because there's been times when we've had clients making inquiries, and I've been like, oh, I'm scared to speak to them and things like that. Because what if they know how old I am? And my mum was like, the biggest thing that you can is inside your own head, where you're thinking that. But I do also at the same time think it's never the clients that are questioning you because of your, they don't really know your age anyways, and most of mine's on the phone. But I do think a lot of the time it's quite hard to be taken seriously by other men in the industry, because 1, I'm a woman, and 2, I like pink and red, and 3, I am quite young still. So, but I think most of the time I can, I have a lot more knowledge than they do, and they've been in the industry for 20 plus years. So
own it. Exactly. Age is definitely not an issue in the practicality of it. I think it is more of a mental barrier that we put on ourselves as a limitation. And of course, age can be a limitation from a point of view of experience. You need to have put the mileage in, but then you've got a phenomenal mentor, your mom. You definitely, between you don't need any more years within you, because you've already got it all there, and you can always lean on your colleagues who might have 5 years experience or 10 years experience. But like you say, so I love this saying, right? So anyone listening to this, it could be applied to absolutely anything. It's not how long you've been a pilot for, it's how many hours you've flown.
I love that.
Yeah.
Great one.
I like to relate to that a lot because I always look at maybe a competitor and think, oh yeah, but they've been doing it for 4 years. I've only done it for 2. And actually, I might have achieved so much more in that short space of time because of the amount of hours I've put in. And so, like what you're saying is, I may be young, but the way I've studied and worked hard to know my stuff, that is what it's worth. It's the value and it's what your knowledge is, not how long you've been an advisor for, but the actual value that you're bringing. And obviously you are successful for a reason.
I know. And I also think probably not, obviously mum didn't ever put any pressure on me, but because she was seen as this like industry legend in our industry, it's like I felt like such a pressure, like, oh my gosh, I need to know absolutely everything. I need to be doing loads of policies and this, that, and the other. And then I actually took a step back and thought, no, I'm my own person. No one's really going to be comparing me to my mum. It's all inside my head. And then as long as I know what I'm doing and what I'm trying to achieve, then that's the main thing. It doesn't matter about outside opinions.
Darling, some people at the age of 50 haven't even worked that out.
I know.
Some people in their 80s haven't even worked that out. Just know what I mean? That is so mature, so savvy and smart of you. And I know I have that relationship with my mum as well. As you do. And I'm not going to cry like I did on Joanna's.
Yeah.
So your mum has already been on and we've already had a little cry. But it is, I know you look up to your mum and I look up to my mum, but Joanna hasn't got that mum to look up to. And I know how, is she there?
Yeah.
I know how she looks to you and your sisters as that rock, that motivation that she needs. And you make her who she is because she's doing it for you. Like that's who she does it for. And I know my mum often turns around to me and I'm like the mum, right? I'm like, mum, stop drinking. Mum, stop that, mum, do this. And she's like kind of looking to me. She's like my child because we do make each other better. That's what we're there for. It doesn't matter the age or what hierarchy we have in the family tree. It's, we do make each other better.
Yeah, the same with us. I'm always, like, she always calls me a rock. I think as well, going back to what other people think, I think when I first actually started working for mum, I was a bit like, felt in a way probably a little bit of a failure, as bad as that sounds now. I look back and I'm like, bloody hell. But like, I was like, oh, everyone's just always going to think, oh, she couldn't get a job, so she just ended up working for her mum because it's easy. So I kind of really felt like I wanted to step up and be my mum's right-hand person so that she can rely on me as well. So I think we really work well as a team.
Yeah, 100%. I've seen it in action. I've seen you guys, do it. So it absolutely is possible. I think that stigma, that's what holds people back. It's like, oh, she just went to work for daddy, didn't she? Or daddy's not anymore. And that actually is like, people do say that. And you're like, oh my God, I sometimes do catch myself that I'm hoping that I haven't said something that's been like a lesson that I've picked up from like things that people say, but actually I don't really believe. And that never came across. I never thought, oh, she's just in her mum's shadow at all. That's why you've got your own show. I didn't want you two together. This is why you have your own slot, because you bring something amazing. I don't think you know what responsibility, and I don't want to put this pressure on you, but you do have a responsibility in this industry for what you represent. Do you know what that is? Do you know what you're representing in this industry for people?
Yeah, I'm representing young women, and I want more women to come into the industry and do it as well.
Yeah, you really are. And I wish when I was 25, I could have, because the only women that I could look to were 40, 50, 60. There wasn't like a 27-year-old badass money honey. There wasn't, but if she was out there, she wasn't visible, right?
Yeah.
And I just thought, how am I gonna make it in this industry? Like, I don't relate to anyone. Like, I don't look like anybody. And if I want the success that Joanna has, for example, how long am I gonna have to be in this industry for? How many, that kind of thing. So I think it's just super important. I wanted to bring you on the show because there are many young female entrants in this industry, but or even 40-year-old women that have worked in this industry for 20 years and still haven't found their voice, right? And still are, and they probably look to you like, right, wow, okay, what can I learn from the next generation, and how can I,
Mhm.
elevate my own brand? So that's super important.
Yeah.
Speaking of people that we admire, who do you turn to other than your mother in the industry? But who motivates you in this space? Like, who do you look at? And I know they don't know that you're about to mention them, but yeah, any names that come to mind that you think, wow, these people give me vibes?
Yeah, so I would say like she's actually our RSD manager from Primus, but Vicky Jensen.
Yeah.
Oh, I absolutely love her. She's so amazing. She's so brilliant at her job, and she just gets it done. And I do look up to her. Like if Mum's not here for whatever reason, then I always go to her.
Oh,
And
yeah, nice.
yeah, but she's like my little. Like, I feel like she's my mentor as well in a way, really.
Oh, beautiful. Yes. No, Vicky is again, another brilliant, talented, gorgeous soul. And I know she has a lot of impact on many people.
Yeah. I think without her, I wouldn't even be advising because obviously there is one thing your mum saying, oh, I think you should do that and this, that, and the other. But unfortunately, you don't always listen to your parents, do you? So
Yeah.
when we were at this event and it was like, I can't remember, it was like a trust workshop or something. And I always used to go along even as mum's administrator. And she just like spoke to me after and she was like, you need to be doing this. And then it kind of like, the clock started turning inside my head, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna do it." So
Yeah,
it's all down
nice.
to her as well.
Yeah. Any regrets?
I'm gonna say yes, I do have regrets. So I think when I first became an advisor, I was so scared to pick up the phone. So I gave myself so much pressure that I was just too scared to speak to people. So I regret that massively because I think I wish I'd just got on and done it and just given it my everything from the get go and not been scared to fail because obviously you learn during failures anyway. And then also another thing, probably about like team members that we've had previously, is not trying to do so much for them because for the wrong people, it will never be enough anyway.
Mm,
So yeah.
that's powerful. I really love that. Another question I had, because I'm just so fascinated by all the stuff that you guys do. What's your next holiday?
So I think we're going to Krakow
Oh
next
yeah.
month. Yeah, just for a couple of days. And then we've got Turkey in May and then Hawaii in July, which I'm super excited for.
And that's all like for personal reasons? Is that like family holiday, or is that
Yeah,
work related?
family holiday. So Hawaii, my mum actually, her mum went when she was 16 and stupidly she was like, I'd rather go to Spain. So she went to Spain with her friend while her mum and sister and dad went to Hawaii. And then a couple of years later, obviously she passed away. So it's always been a big dream for her. So last year I was like, right, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get us to Hawaii for ASAP. So I really
Wow.
wanted to go. So I'm really excited for that.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So we've got that kind of trip coming up. So my parents, so typical Sicilian expat story where they grew up in Sicily and got married there and had us. And then when they decided to have a better life, they moved to England, and one of their best friends moved to America. Like literally, you could make a movie about it. A million movies have been made about this, right? So his best friend, my dad's best friend, went to America. My family chose England, and that's where they built a better life. So their trip of a lifetime has always been New York, which is where this friend lives. And we planned this trip to try and get 8 people together at the same time. Was incredible.
Yeah.
So we booked it in 2020, got cancelled because of COVID. And now we finally rebooked it, and we're going in April. So
Oh gosh, I
this
love New
is,
York.
yeah, this is the trip that I've been wanting to give my parents for, well, at least since 2020, but for years now. So we're finally squeezing it in. So I really hope that happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's our trip. And
Oh wow.
yes, yeah, very excited. And the final question I have for you is, what do you see for yourself? I know this is the typical, like in a year's time, 5 years time, etc. But what would you like to be remembered for? So if we talk about brand, if you left the room and we remember your pink shirt, fine. But about you, what do you want people to say about you when you're not in the room?
I really pride myself on being a hard worker. So if I wasn't in the room, I would hope that they'd all be saying that I am a really hard worker. I get stuff done, and I know a lot of stuff about the industry. Like my knowledge, my product knowledge is up there. And yeah, and that I'm kind as well on a personal one.
That is so beautiful. That is very true. That's exactly. Sometimes people don't know what people would say about them if they left the room. They're not that in tune with their true voice and their brand, and you've nailed it. That is you. That is really you. Okay, actually, I lied. One final question. Who would you? I asked the same question to your mother. It's called positive pollination, right? So if you were listening to the show and you could hear a speaker, who would you love to hear from?
So I'm going to say, can I say two?
Yeah.
No, so two people. So
I thought you said, can I say
oh,
no,
two people. I'd say Vicky Jensen, of course, got to say her, and then also Paula Pearson. She works for Aviva, and she's another amazing female in this industry that wants to change things as well. So yeah, definitely her.
Okay, well, there you are, ladies. If you're listening, you've been nominated, and obviously, people who see value in you, I always just say, you know what, it's your duty. Like, it's your duty to be visible, to show up, and to speak, because who are you helping if you are playing small, right? Who are you actually positively impacting if you don't put it out there? So I hope they're listening, and I hope they have the courage to share their message on here too. But in the meantime, I thank you so much for sharing this time with me, Bella. I know you're very busy, and I know this. What's that?
I said thank you so much for having me. When you asked me, I was like, oh, pinch myself.
I know. And I know this was like a really big thing for you, but I hope it's opened up more doors in the future for you to actually, we need to see more of you, because I feel like what you represent is underrepresented in the industry. And I'm sorry to put it on your shoulders, but it is on you. You have to do it, because if you do it, more people will follow and you won't feel so alone. So thank you for being so just genuine and candid with me on the show.
Oh, no, thank you so much for having me. I love you to bits. And I also think you as a woman make every other woman feel good as well. So I think you need a bit of appreciation for that.
Oh, thanks, babe. Someone did say that actually I made them feel the opposite, that they just didn't feel good enough. And I was like, that is not the intention. Like, I don't feel perfect. And we all have imposter syndrome. So it makes me very happy when someone takes that the right way and actually, empowers them to be more and do more. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
See you soon.